Class dismissed.
The Wolverine isn't just a badass, he's the undisputed king of sass who loves to kick some serious ass. My cringy poetry aside, I'm not joking here.
Prove it. You're a dick.
The critics have always showered praise on Hugh Jackman for portraying a tough and complex character, but the fans love him because he's an absolute savage.
How did you know there's a pole down there?
I didn't.
Don't believe me? Well then stick around because this video is going to include moments that would put even Queen Rihanna to shame. Yep, today I'm covering the Wolverine's sassiest moments in the movies.
You'll have to be patient with me.
Patience is my strongest suit.
We all love an anti-hero who's self-aware. Days of Future Past was a real train wreck for our beloved mutants, but even despite the high stakes, Logan still managed to find room for another one of his sarcastic comments. The moment comes when he needs to be transported into the past to help undo the whole Sentinel narrative, and Professor X has got some words of advice for him. He asks him to be patient with his younger self because, well, the 70s were a wild time. However, the Wolverine just casually replies, "Patience isn't my strongest suit." It's very subtle and doesn't exactly raise any eyebrows from his peers, but everyone in the audience knew exactly what must have been going on in his head, and it felt way too relatable. I mean, sure, there isn't much time for them as the Sentinels are pretty much done murdering all the other mutants, but hey, Logan's got to squeeze in some sass, so I guess it's justified.
Where do I find you?
Well, it's complicated.
What exactly are you, Professor F, Mr. Logan?
Art.
X2's a perfect follow-up to its predecessor, and it was great to see Logan being put into the spotlight more often this time. Apart from the countless battles he fought, there's one moment where he really nailed his attitude. It's when Bobby's coming out to his parents as a mutant, and the general vibe starts to grow gloomy. Of course, this is a lot for his family to take in, and they need their son to help them understand his situation. Now, a normal dude would try to sympathize for these people and offer some advice, but not Logan. When Bobby's dad asks him what he's a professor of, he savagely responds with one word: art. I mean, out of all the subjects he could have come up with, he chose art. Like, PE teacher would have been much more believable. I don't even know how to explain this joke. It's exclusive to Wolverine fans only. But more than anything else, the timing was just spot on. Gotta love a meta comedian, right?
Who's the furball?
Henry, this is Logan. He's,
Wolverine. I hear you're quite an animal.
Look who's talking.
The Last Stand doesn't have a lot going for it, but Logan was definitely one of the highlights. The dude never pulled back whether he was throwing punches or sarcasm, so when he came face to face with the Beast, there was bound to be some kind of witty exchange. The Wolverine doesn't disappoint as he begins by calling Hank a furball. The distinguished scientist maintains his cool and tries to one-up his opponent by comparing him to an animal, but he clearly didn't think that one through, considering, well, he's literally called Beast, isn't he? Logan wastes no time in taking advantage and says, "Look who's talking." Oh, that one had to sting. Beneath all that muscle and hair, I'm sure Hank would have been crying a little bit over losing this battle of wits within just a matter of seconds. It just goes to show that even a genius is no match for a badass.
Don't do this!
Class dismissed.
Insulting the Beast is one thing, but casually walking around a simulated training exercise is a whole other ballgame. The new recruits at the X-Mansion are having a hard time keeping up with the drill, but all Logan cares about is smoking his cigar. The whole scene is basically just him making fun of the kids he's supposed to be guiding. Even when Storm saves him from an attack, he gets upset because she made him lose his final cigar.
That was my last cigar.
And that's not even the best part. Now that he has no motivation to continue with the exercise, he finishes things off himself by slicing up a giant robot's head. After showing that he can walk the talk, Logan casually walks past the head and declares,
Class dismissed.
okay, I've got to admit that he could have handled this one much better, considering he's a mentor now, but who cares? We're just here for the entertainment.
It was a defensive exercise.
Yeah, best defense is a good offense.
Who has the answers, Wolverine? Those people? That creature in your arms?
I'll take my chances with him.
Okay, this one primarily showcased Logan's maturity, but it still counts. After chaining up Stryker and leaving him with no means of escape, the Wolverine has the chance to finally get his revenge for all those years of trauma bestowed upon him by his tormentor. However, as sweet as that might have been for him, he's also got a mutant kid in his arms, and studios weren't too keen on R-rated comic book movies just yet. So he decides to take the high ground and leaves him alone. I mean, Stryker does die eventually, but that's beside the point. The villain obviously has to mutter some crap about how someone else is going to finish what he started, but Logan seriously couldn't care less.
Whatever.
Stryker even takes it up a notch by insulting the kid he's holding, but that's a serious dick move. Logan still remains calm and replies, "I'll take my chances with him." This line might not be too savage, but it's pretty effective in the context of the scene, and Logan gets the final laugh anyway. That's a win in my book.
One day!
And you know the drill. 1.
I have a lawyer now.
2. 3.
The bitch slap is probably one of the funniest things you could show in a movie, and while this kind of stuff is usually kept for comedy films, the one in the very adult-themed Logan is freaking hilarious. We already know that the Wolverine is probably not even half as strong as he used to be, but that doesn't mean he's going to pull back on the attitude. After a bunch of wannabe bad guys trying to intimidate him and his buddy, he decides it's time to give the audience something to laugh about and offers them a countdown. The goons look totally confused, and it was hilarious seeing Logan casually walking up to their leader and smacking him down the moment his count hit 3. He breaks his gun for good measure and spooks the others away despite knowing very well that fighting them wouldn't have been as easy as it used to be. The scene highlights his pessimistic perspectives as he clearly doesn't care about whether he lives or not anymore. But don't let that fool you. It's still a funny scene if you understand the context.
You've had training.
So, couldn't wait to get my shirt off again, huh?
One of the most important things about being sassy is the ability to flirt at any given situation, and Logan is no stranger to the occasional thirst trap. This scene takes us back to the first ever X-Men movie where Jean Grey has to take a look at his skeleton to understand his physical structure. This naturally requires him to take off his shirt, and while the process is supposed to be serious, Logan doesn't want to wait to slide into her DMs later on, so he tries his luck right there. All he has to do is suggest that she couldn't wait to take off his shirt again, and it does get a smirk out of her, although it isn't very visible on first viewing. No, seriously, watch this scene on YouTube again and pause right after he shoots his shot. You won't be disappointed. Logan not only proves that he's a smooth criminal, but he also gives Cyclops a lot to worry about as well. I guess he really is Mr. Steal Your Girl.
This mutation, he has uncharted regenerative capability. He could very well be older than you, Professor.
Here's another one from the OG movie, and this time, Logan totally slays without even uttering a single word. First, he makes everyone believe that he's getting his ass whooped in the beginning of this fight with some random wrestler. Then, just when it looks like he's down and out for the count, he springs back up in action and knocks the dude out in such a dismissive way that the humiliation might have hurt more than the actual blow. It's so effortless, and he makes it seem as if he was doing his opponent a favor by holding back for so long. However, the key moment of sass is the way he looks at the crowd after winning his battle. He knows everyone was betting against him, and getting to see the collective shock on their faces must have been really satisfying for him. Now that's how you establish your character without having to open your mouth. Rogue definitely approves.
Tonight's winner and still king of the cave, the Wolverine.
Yeah, I wasn't joking about the tension between Wolverine and Cyclops. They've definitely got an unspoken rivalry going on, especially for Jean. Scott Summers has always been the de facto boyfriend of his sweet psychotic redhead, but Logan doesn't care about the standard norms, does he? Not too long ago, I spoke about how he tried flirting with Jean, and Scott clearly didn't take too kindly to that.
Stay away from my girl.
Not that this came as a huge surprise or anything, but we're all expecting some kind of response, and we definitely weren't left disappointed. Later, the two Romeos and Storm pass a metal detector, and of course, it starts buzzing when Wolverine passes through it. He wastes no time in slashing it down, and Cyclops isn't impressed. But Logan doesn't care, and shows him the middle finger by virtue of his claw. I burst out laughing when I rewatched this scene, and I can't get over the fact that this kind of stuff is actually okay to show in a PG-13 movie.
Prove it.
You're a dick.
There really isn't any kind of comeback to this, so all Cyclops can do is smile and brush it off for now. I'm sure that dude must have cried himself to sleep later that night. Poor guy just can't catch a break.
Where's my motorcycle?
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Charles Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, this one was easily the funniest scene in the whole movie. Naturally, none of us expected to see Wolverine in a cameo, but it did totally pay off. Charles and Eric are looking for new recruits, and after picking up the next Catwoman, they decide to try their luck with the one and only Logan. However, the hunky Australian doesn't have time for Professor X and Magneto's little mission, so he's got a couple of words for them. Fuck off. If you're familiar with the rules, you'll know that one F-bomb is allowed in a PG-13 movie, and this was the best possible use of the allowance in the X-Men franchise. It's only a brief appearance, but it's so impactful, and is easily my most rewatched scene from the movie. Whoever had this idea is a genius.
I like this one.
And there you go. Those are my sassiest Wolverine moments in the movies. Do you have any other suggestions? Let me know in the comments or on my new Discord server. The link is in the description along with my Patreon as well. Connect with me on my socials if you're up for a chat, and like, share and subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.